Bawat siya Niminendan makak nagabisha kabindaw natstamega kominagabindaw wiji ayam hi siaga ngegisha maji wiji utiak wepanasha inukokkaisek umagdakimnag. Greetings. I am happy to see all of you coming to join us in this dialogue. It's been a long time coming. I think over 500 years we've been walking together. And we have to start walking that correct path that our ancestors had intended. My name is Linda Nothing, and I'm just here to introduce our host, Niigaanwewidam James Sinclair from Manitoba.
Okay. That's fun. That's great. So bonjour. Bonjour, Niigaanwewidam. Niigaanwewidam Indigenous-Settler, Kigardotem, St. Peter's and Donchi. It's an honor to be in this place and here and now in this beautiful building, in this beautiful territory. We are on the unceded and Algonquin territory in this area, and it is an honor to be here. I flew in last night, and it's wonderful to be so welcomed in this territory, to do this important work. We have a very busy afternoon ahead of us. I encourage you to keep track through the program, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this day and what we're here to do, and what we're hoping to accomplish out of this work, because this work is another step, but it's a very big and important step, particularly for this community. For the local organizers that I met with this morning, there is a hope that this is an invitation, this is a gesture to all of us to begin a dialogue, a critically important dialogue in this territory. But I want to talk a little bit about my involvement and how I came to be in this area. Well, I had heard that there was this conference with a really cool name. And so I immediately did what all traditional people do now, is tweet. And so I got on my sacred Twitter, and I sent out a tweet going, Niigaan conference? That sounds like the greatest conference I've ever heard of. And so immediately I talked with the organizers, and as usual, when Wob Canoe can't do something, I fill in. If any of you know Wob is a brother of mine, and I'm very close with him. And I actually taught Wob when he was 14. I'm a recovering high school teacher. So I actually gave him his first concert. So unfortunately, I don't rap. So that's what I said to the organizer right away. I said, I don't know, but it is an honor to be here. So as a fellow Anishinaabe, Wob sends his thoughts and his good wishes to all of us to do this work. And to carry this from our territory. As a part of Treaty 1, in where I come from, we are going through a critically important time as a community. If any of you saw the decision yesterday involving the Métis, and many of our relations within our territory, and our partners, the Métis that share our territory. I come from St. Peter's, Indian settlement. We have a long and rich history of relationship making. One of the most critical dialogues that is taking place in southern Manitoba is that of family, and that the relationships that treaties form and that relationships form in this place called Kanata or Canada is about family. It is not about friends. You can pick and choose your friends, you can't pick and choose your family. And so what does a relationship look like when we start really thinking about each other as family in a respectful and reciprocal fashion? What does that actually look like when people aren't locked in a closet, when other people are enjoying the food in the kitchen, when people are actually sitting in the living room together and engaging in the critical dialogue that involves our future? Because our country has never known that. We have never known that dialogue. And so this is an opportunity for us to be a part of this. And so this important day starts off with a man that I met just recently, a poet, Albert Dumont. Albert is not only a spiritual leader that works with our brothers and our inmate brothers, but also works in words and respects language and thinks about those things. And so I invite Albert to come up and start our day in not only the way in which he just did, which was he smudged us and he opened that doorway to those good thoughts and those good actions that will take place in this room, but I invite him to share a few words with us and open that doorway also to the other spirits and invite them into this space. So Albert, we got you.
Thank you and welcome. Before I offer words of a prayer and welcoming, I'd just like to say that I met the grandson of a lumber baron here, I guess it was a year ago, and I mentioned to him that this region should be honoring of the forest, the trees, you know, because it was the timber industry, I said, that drew many settlers here, and that needs to be acknowledged. And he said, no, it wasn't the timber industry that drew people here, that drew the settlers here. It was free land. Free land is what drew the settlers here. The fact is, though, the land was not free, because there comes a point where it's going to have to be paid for. The people received it. It was stolen. This land was stolen, and it was given for free for veterans of the War of 1812 and people from Europe. Now the thing about that is, at this point, there's a settlement, tentative settlement, but this tentative settlement, as far as I'm concerned, does not even compensate for what was stolen before Confederation. And Confederation was a long time ago. So what about the compensation between Confederation and today, and what about today to 200 years or 500 years from now? The fact is, there needs to be proper compensation, because as far as I'm concerned, it's like if somebody stole $1 million from somebody else, and the person who had been robbed got some negotiators and said, I want you to get my $1 million back. And the negotiators come back later and said, we've got a deal. We're able to give you $10 from that $1 million that was stolen. And they'd say, well, that doesn't sound very fair. That's the best we could do, though. We fought really hard. I don't understand how it could be that people would think that a paltry settlement like what's been offered is going to cut it. It's a terrible, terrible thing. It's an insult. It's offensive, as far as I'm concerned. And I'm speaking as a spiritual advisor because, as far as I'm concerned, Canada might have gained by stealing Algonquin land. They might have gained physically, but they lost out spiritually. They lost out big time, because spirituality is connected to what's right and what's wrong, and that was terribly wrong for Canada not to make a treaty with the Algonquin people long ago when they had many opportunities to do so. But they turned their backs. And now it's time of reckoning. And you know, whenever we talk about being honorable, we have to understand the meaning of that word. Does everybody understand the meaning of the word honor? Because I think I do. And that is not honorable, and we have to appreciate that whenever there's thefts and robberies and things like this, there's no escape justice in the spirit world. Everyone will have to understand that at some point, because nobody's going to live forever.
Oh, glitch, Albert. We're going to have a chance to talk a lot today and to think. and to ask questions not only of each other but also of ourselves. And so this day is an opportunity for this space to be a safe and important space for all of us to share and to think. And the most important thing in my territory amongst my family is we always start with a song or a dance, and sometimes all of that together. So we are so privileged to have Elaine and Thieland, who I'll tell you a little bit about Elaine and a little bit about Thieland. Elaine comes from northern Saskatchewan, Peter Ballantyne First Nation. She's Cree. Thieland is Cree and also Potawatomi, so we've got some relatives with me here. So we're going to come up, and also I believe joining them will be Cindy Dumont. Is that? Sorry. So you screwed up already. Hey, way to go, hey. Tiffany. Oh, geez, there you go. So sorry about that, Tiffany. Tiffany, come on up. And so they're going to speak a little bit about the song that they're going to share. They're going to share two songs. Tiffany's going to share some opening. But one of the things about dance is the dance is an invitation. And one of the most important things that we've seen in this country for the past 2 months has been an invitation to see the beauty of life and to think about not only the beauty and the reverberations of those sounds, of those jingles throughout creation, but also the ways in which we are marking ourselves into the earth. And that marking into the earth is really declaring to creation, here we are, and look at how beautiful we can be. And so I invite Elaine to come up here. So.
Bonjour, Tansy. My English name is Elaine Kiknosway, and this is Thieland, as mentioned. And we're going to start with the AIM song, because we give thanks for this day and this place, and the coming together of the voices and the prayers and the sirens. Just that gratefulness of what we say, that communication we've always had with one another. And then Thieland says he's going to sing a sidestep for you.
Hey,
So bonjour. Bonjour, Niigaanwewidam Niigaanwewidam Indigenous-Settler, Claudette, St. Peter's and Donchi, Niigaanwewidam Omayayan, Niigaanwewidam. It's an honor to be in this place and here and now in this beautiful building, in this beautiful territory. We are on the unceded and Algonquin territory in this area, and it is a
bawat siya nimenendan makak nagabishay kabindaw natstamega kominagabindaw wiji ayam hi siyaga ngegishe maji wiji utyak wepenasha inugokkaisek umagdakimnag. Greetings. I am happy to see all of you coming to join us in this.
I hope that this is an invitation, this is a gesture to all of us to begin a dialogue, a critically important dialogue in this territory. But I want to talk a little bit about my involvement and how I came to be in this area. Well, I had heard that there was this conference with a really cool name. And so I immediately did what all traditional people do now, is tweet. And so I got on my sacred Twitter, and I sent out a tweet going, Niigaan conference? That sounds like the greatest conference I've ever heard.
Dialogue. It's been a long time coming. I think over 500 years we've been walking together. And we have to start walking that correct path that our ancestors had intended. My name is Linda Nothing, and I'm just here to introduce our host, Niigaanwewidam James Sinclair from Manitoba.
The honor to be here. I flew in last night, and it's wonderful to be so welcomed in this territory, to do this important work. We have a very busy afternoon ahead of us. I encourage you to keep track through the program, and I'm going to talk a little bit about this day and what we're here to do. and what we're hoping to accomplish out of this work, because this work is another step, but it's a very big and important step, particularly for this community. For the local organizers that I met with this morning, there is a